grandson of Benjamin Franklin was arrested by President John Adams. Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today we'll be discussing Benjamin Franklin Bache. Benjamin Franklin Bache is the other grandson of Benjamin Franklin. I had discussed William Temple Franklin the other day, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. I thought it would only be fair to give Ben Franklin Bache his own video, and he also led an interesting life. In fact, when Benjamin Franklin went to Europe, to Paris, to talk and negotiate with the French, well, he brought both his grandsons with him. And Benjamin Franklin Bache received most of his education in France. He returned home at 10 years later, having not seen his family in quite some time, and from there he served as his grandfather's assistant for the remainder of his life. After which, the older Benjamin Franklin left Benjamin Franklin Bache his old print shop. Now, Benjamin Franklin, of course, had been a very successful printer in his day. Benjamin Franklin Bache was fairly successful. He never made the money his grandfather did, and he created a newspaper called the Philadelphia Aurora. Now, as opposed to Benjamin Franklin, who was very good at winning the respect of even his most ardent political opponents, they at least respected him, Benjamin Franklin Bache was a little more crass than that, and he became a mouthpiece of the Democratic Republican Party, as it was an upstart party, most notably the party of Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. And he was very much against not just Alexander Hamilton, but even a lot of the policies of John Adams. And when John Adams became president, well, Benjamin Franklin Bache was giving him a lot of grief. Unfortunately, President John Adams passed the Alien and, more importantly, Sedition Acts. And there were many journalists arrested for speaking out against the country. And one of these men that was arrested was Benjamin Franklin Bache, arrested by John Adams, who, again, he had known when they were all in Paris. In fact, he had gone to school with future President John Quincy Adams in Europe for a good amount of time because they were both the children or grandchildren of people who were delegates negotiating with Britain and France at the time. Now, sadly, Benjamin Franklin Bache was just 29 years old and awaiting his trial when a smallpox came through Philadelphia and he caught it and passed away, and his life ended quickly and abruptly. But that is the story of Benjamin Franklin Bache, the man who was arrested by his friend's dad, who happened to be his grandfather's friend, President John Adams. So I hope this inspired you to read a little bit more about Benjamin Franklin Bache. I'll put a link in the description below for an article I wrote about him. He also is notable as an anti-slavery advocate very early on. Granted, Pennsylvania had gotten rid of slavery at this point. He printed the first copy of the Jay Treaty. There's a lot to know about this man's brief life, so I suggest you look into him a little more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with another founder for you tomorrow.